and foisted the bill on them. Why did you do that? Why don't you think you have to answer for $20,000 of legal bills that you send to the taxpayer to pay your fine?
What's up, just Aaron right here, Question Period Canada. Our friends at Rebel News broke a big story. Stephen Guilbeault, the Minister of our Environment, the carbon tax guy, like, he climbed the CN tax. He's a nut. Anyway, you can see it in his face in this clip. He is a nut, and I don't think Rebel News is gonna let him off the hook. Do you? Like, let's take a closer look. Rebel News is coming down on Stephen Guilbeault. Due time, it happens.
Ezra Levant for Rebel News, and I'd like to thank the UN for accrediting a citizen journalist outlet like us. Mr. Guilbeault, according to the Globe and Mail, you serve on the China Council for International Cooperation on Environment and Development, which is a government agency controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. Is that a conflict of interest with your role as a Canadian cabinet minister? And is it perhaps why you have really been gentle on China, even though it is by far the world's largest polluter, including with plastics pollution? Thanks again for letting me ask that question.
The Canada-China Council is an organization that has been in existence since, from memory, 1971 or 1972. And a succession of environment ministers from all colors and stripes, including under Stephen Harper. A number of environment ministers sat on this organization. It is a partnership where we exchange information on environmental issues, and we work together to develop public policies that are implemented in China to tackle a number of the things that we're talking about here.
So gang, all I'm saying is that Stephen Guilbeault in this next piece gives the nutty eyes. Like, I know that look. That look is a threat. I feel like it is. If you look at me like that, I'm gonna feel threatened. Let's take a closer look at Stephen Guilbeault being nuts. Rebel News has it right here. Let's look.
And then you stiffed the taxpayer and foisted the bill on them. Why did you do that? Why don't you think you have to answer for $20,000 of legal bills that you send to the taxpayer to pay your fine? Why aren't you talking about it? You had a lot to say in court. You claimed that your Twitter account was a personal account. If that's the case, why didn't you pay the fine personally? Do you disrespect taxpayers, Mr. Guilbeault? Sure seems that way. Hey, you're on the board of a Chinese agency, a Chinese government agency for the environment. How is that not a conflict of interest, given that you're in the Canadian cabinet? Is that why you never criticize China, the world's largest producer of plastic? Why are your staff pulling at me? Why are they assaulting me, sir? Why don't you ever criticize China? Have you received help from China in your political campaigns too? China refuses to sign the anti-plastics treaty. Why are you forcing that on Canadians?
What does that mean, the registry, Mr. Guilbeault? What do you mean by it? What is the cost that the organization and taxpayer will need to pay for your registry?
Run away! Run away! Stephen Guilbeault, on the streets of Ottawa. I was running with my heavy backpack, had a few questions for him. He didn't want to answer. We'll have more later.
So gang, what's the word? Is Stephen Guilbeault an absolute nut? He gives a couple of looks to the camera that make me feel, as a Canadian, like he doesn't like us. The reporter was asking legitimate questions about a case, I guess, very close or pertinent, but nevertheless, Steven Guilbeault, who knows about that guy? Does he not seem like a nut to you? Because, like, he climbed the CN Tower, did a whole bunch of crazy tricks. He's a criminal, right? So, Steven Guilbeault. My name's Aaron. This is Question Period Canada. We watch the daily broadcasts of the question periods. Come and join one of the live shows. It's a blast. Our chat room is fun. We've got a great community growing there. Come check us out. That's it. Aaron, Question Period Canada. Like, subscribe. Check out one of the other videos that are floating around here. I'm sure there's one. And if not, just get notified for one of our live shows. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. Come check out. We're learning about Canadian federal politics. I don't know it all. We're learning as we go, trying to share that with the community that we're growing. Like, that's the idea with this channel. I'm not trying to sell you anything, except coming back. That's it. Aaron, Question Period Canada, live from Nova Scotia most days. And till the next video, thank you for watching this one. Take care. Ciao.
And climate change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to thank Danielle for her testimony. With the next quarterly carbon rebate payments starting to arrive in Canadian bank accounts and mailboxes as of today, in Danielle's province of Alberta, a family of 4 will receive up to $450 4 times this year, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, over 300 economists, it was 200 last week, it's now 300, from coast to coast agree that the evidence showed that not only does carbon pricing reduce pollution in Canada, but it does so at a lower cost than any other approaches. Pricing pollution works, it can support Canadians and fight for climate change. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, who for generations have been stewards of this land. I recognize their enduring presence, resilience, and honor their contributions to our shared community, past, present, and future. And Chief, I would like to offer my condolences to you and your community for your loss. Colleagues, there is a reason why we're all gathered here today. As we begin our work for INC4, the oceans and land we're committed to protect are choking with plastic. We produce, buy, use, and throw away plastic irresponsibly and unsustainably. Plastic pollution is found in every corner of our planet. We are breathing, drinking, and eating it. We know there is another way.
I'm joined by Dr. Chris Darmett, who is an expert in plastics that doesn't believe in the ideology inside. Tell me who you are and what you stand for.
So I'm the author of The Plastics Paradox. I've got a PhD in polymer science, and I'm a crusader for truth. Let's not fight for political agendas or some end game. Let's first look at the evidence. I'm a scientist, right? So you have to look at the evidence and then make up your mind based on what the science says. So I read 4,000 peer-reviewed studies, unpaid, completely unfunded. I'm here on my own dime because I actually care about the truth and making decisions that make sense based on the truth. And I agree with what you just said. These people are just here for making money, making themselves feel important, and fighting for an agenda which ironically has the exact opposite effect of the intentions that they state up front. So that's a problem. They're saying that they're for the environment, and the things that they're suggesting are anti-environment and are scientifically proven to increase waste, increase litter, increase greenhouse gas, increase fossil fuel, and that is a scientific fact. So they're charlatans.
You know, some people in there are the kind of folks I encounter in Canada a lot, wealthy, rent seekers would be the technical term, people trying to get a grant or something. But I sort of recognize them culturally. They're from Canada. They have a university degree. They're probably making 6 figures. I understand their patter. But what is hard for me to fathom are the hundreds of delegates from extremely poor countries that have real environmental problems that have nothing to do with, you know, plastic forks in Canada or a plastics registry. And I can't imagine people here from Somalia or Nigeria, that this is a genuine, like, I bet those countries have very serious pollution problems, but none of it's got to do with plastics.
Right, so you make a great point. If you look at the correlation between what's green and how much something costs, you find out the more expensive something is, the less green it is. So if you want to generate a kilogram of gold,